What's going on, boys and girls? Welcome back to another video by yours truly. It looks like Mornye's kit has been fully revealed and fleshed out, so we can now talk about it. It looks like I might have been right, boys. She is, in fact, going to be the Shorekeeper of the Toon Break playstyle. In fact, based off what I've seen, she actually reminds me of Ruan-Mei and what Ruan-Mei was for Super Break for quite some time, until eventually you got Fugue and so on and so forth. But I legitimately see a Ruan-Mei situation right here. I can even see people undervaluing one of the quirks she has that's a parallel to Ruan-Mei's quirk, that I remember HSR players were trying to say she wasn't going to be anything, and then she ended up being fucking disgusting. And what that was Ruan-Mei had this perk where she made it 50% easier. Like it was a 1.5 efficacy increase to getting down break bars. And people kind of just like glossed over that as if it wasn't some who cares, because it's not, it doesn't just say damage. Gacha players don't do math, don't know anything outside of just big number on the screen. And then on top of that, she had a delay. Same thing, because the delay wasn't exactly like damage. They couldn't process the value of it. And I feel like Mornye, it may or may not, people may or may not do the exact same thing. But I'm gonna tell you right now, she has this perk that says off tune build up by 50%. Like I said, just think Ruan-Mei. 1.5 times faster you're going to be building up your off tune rate build up meter, so that you can cast Toon Break and respond as well with Toon Strain Rupture or Toon Strain Interfere, and get through those rotations a lot more fluid with this character on the team. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more things that she can do that we're going to get into, but basically she's looking like a very hard skip. I know that's not good news to some of you guys, because you saw aemeath's fucking ridiculous kit and thought, I'm skipping Mornye and I'm pulling aemeath, probably as a free-to-play player or a budget player. And I still think that's very much an option for a lot of the casuals, right, who don't really care about Tower of Adversity, Whimpering Waste, and whatever the fuck that new name, with Double Pawns Matrix mode. Like, if you're not caring about none of that stuff, totally can skip her, and it would save you some money as well as some resources, so on and so forth. But for the people who are playing for, you know, those in-game modes, she's going to be a hard skip with one very cope-induced caveat, and that caveat is, can aemeath's kit or will it involve dot infliction, so that Chisa is a good side grade here from Mornye? I'm gonna be real, man. I don't know, dude. It sounds like cope to me. I think Chisa might be an option, but she cannot respond to Toon Strain Rupture or Toon Strain Interfere. She does have that juicy defense infliction, but if you didn't pick up her sig, it's kind of just like, it's kind of mid. I'm going to be honest with you. The only way Chisa is going to be valuable here is if aemeath's kit actually has dot inside of it the same way Kartathia's did. Then that would be freaking cool, and I hope it does, because right now, bro, Chisa, holy hell, it's a big question mark just hovering over her head, you know what I mean? But I just can't see aemeath. I tell you, I guarantee you this, I guarantee you that aemeath is literally going to respond to Toon Strain Rupture and Interfere. They're not making the premier DPS unit of 3.0 not interact with the new Toon Break mechanics. It's no way. It's not possible. It's gonna happen. Her best of slot's probably gonna be Mornye, Linne, aemeath. In fact, I can assure you that's going to be her best in slot. Anyways, we'll give a bit more thoughts at the end here after we show the rest of her kit off. Like I said, they just uploaded this not too long ago, showing off pretty much everything you need to know about how her kit and how it's going to function. And I took the liberty of just kind of consolidating all the important need to know stuff. We'll reference back and forth on where I've got this information, so on and so forth. But let's get into it. So for her buffs given to the entirety of the party, she got a 40% damage increase that she's going to give to the party. I'm not sure if this is going to be additive or multiplicative. Normally, I'm familiar with the language in terms of how they word things. They worded this one quite interesting, so I'm just going to have to wait and see. But worst case scenario, it's an additive, and that's still a fat amount of additive damage bonus. And the way that this is going to be inflicted is through a marker that she can apply. And this marker is actually one of two different markers. One of the markers gets inflicted when you cast her heavy attack in her float. She's floating in the air. You fill up this meter, you cast this heavy attack, and inflicts a marker. Now, this marker lasts for 30 whole seconds, right? The next marker gets triggered when you cast Toon Break, and then somebody responds with Toon Strain or Toon Rupture Interfere. That marker there is what's going to give the 40% damage bonus. But we do got one little problem here. That marker, which is the one that's very important to get this bonus, it only lasts for 8 seconds. Yeah, just like you did in bed the other day with your girl, brother. That's a bit of a problem, right? 8 seconds is not a long time, but in the hands of pros who are good at rotations, 8 seconds is plenty time. So there's something important here that you need to make sure of when you're playing with Mornye. That is, when you cast that Toon Break, you know, when Lene responds and does a nuke rupture on top of your freaking Toon Break nuke, you want to be careful with that, and you want to make sure you're doing that in the sequence of your rotation where you're getting ready to do the most damage. Case in point, let's think of aemeath, right? You're gonna cast this Toon Break, bam, respond with all 3 people who can respond, and then you, in the next 8 seconds, you need to get it shaken with aemeath in terms of the best, like most broken rotation of her kit. That's just one example, but that's pretty much how you're going to try and take advantage of that, if that makes sense. Now, we've got 25% all damage amplification to the party. That's an outro skill. Works just like Shorekeepers and Verenas, right? You outro out with Mornye. The rest of the party, which I love this, gets this. So that means Mornye is absolutely going to be your anchor man or anchor woman, if you will. You got 3 people in the party. The first person is going to be Mornye, because when you outro her out, you want the rest of the party to get benefit of that 25% all damage amplification. Now, there is one thing to take note of here. Actually, 2 things. She gets a 25% attack boost to the party as well from her healing set, and 25% all damage amplification. I went and took the liberty and I looked at Shorekeeper and I was like, huh, I think that's literally an outright power creep there in terms of buff efficacy. Yeah, 15% damage amplification. Mornye's is 25. And then we've got healing set on Shorekeeper, which is only a 15% attack boost to the party, and hers is 25, right? So that's quite literally a efficacy increase from both the healing set as well as the outro skill. But there is one thing to mention, of course, and that is Shorekeeper can give a crit rate and crit damage boost to the party. But the more I list off, the more you're going to realize Mornye is just doing a lot more. I'm gonna be real, bro. All right, so let's get back to it. So we've also got 20% crit damage boost if you decide to pick up her signature, which I want to make sure we're clear here, boys. Her signature is literally Shorekeeper's signature. The exact same energy recharge, 77% energy recharge, based or main stat, and then it gives defense instead of HP because she scales with that, and then it restores 8 concerto energy just like Shorekeepers, and then it gives 20% crit damage instead of attack percent. So it is literally Shorekeeper's weapon, but for Mornye. That's also up on Twitter and it's been uploaded. I'm just speeding you guys through because I didn't want to show you off all this shit because there's a lot of things to get through. But that's up on Twitter as well. You can go and look at it on the official Wuthering Waves page. Now, this is where the buffs end and the slept on shit begins, okay? Off tune rate buildup, increase to party. This comes from a field that she just activates the moment she enters her little hover state. Boom, she just activates this field that does this shit. And it's a, I believe it's a 50% off tune buildup, I believe. Okay, I just wanted to search for this real quick. Yeah, increase off tune rate buildup of all nearby resonators in the team by 50%. I wanted to find that just so you guys could have that immediately available. But apart from that, you also have auto regen to on-field party members. So you're going to be able to passively heal just by being inside of this freaking field. Increased resistance to interruption to the party, again, inside of this field. So this Sentinel field is increasing your off-tune rate buildup by 50%, and it lasts for a long ass time too. I think it's 25 or 30 seconds. Auto regen to the party, healing, increased resistance to interruption to party, and defense increase to party. Now this one is just like icing on the cake. It's like, oh, sure. You know what I mean? So like if they don't scale with defense, they're a little bit tankier. If they do scale with defense, they get a damage increase, but it's like, who cares if they do or don't right now? Reduce any single hit greater than 30% of your HP to a cap of just 30% of your HP. This is literally anti-nuke a perk. Basically, you're fighting a hologram boss. They got a move that hits for 80% of your HP. It's instead only going to hit for 30% of your HP. So they have, and you can, this happens 3 times. This girl will literally help out so many casuals beating their holograms that they've left uncompleted because they have a massive skill issue. Even if you have a skill issue here, she has the Shorekeeper perk too, where if you should die, you won't die. Instead, she'll bring you back to life and heal you. So like, this is what I was saying. Whereas the more we start listing off this stuff, you're gonna be like, okay, she just power crept Shorekeeper. The only thing Shorekeeper has is that 12% crit rate and crit damage buff. And I'm gonna be real, the more we get into this game and they start dropping all these freaking sets and all these different teams, the more that crit rate, crit damage buff the Shorekeeper has diminished in value ever so slightly, slowly but surely as time goes by. And so, yeah, I mean, Mornye is looking pretty freaking insane, not just for meta players, but casual players as well. And I know that's kind of bad news to some of y'all's ears because you're like, fuck, so you're telling me I got to pull her and aemeath and her SIGs, bro? Like, yeah, it's a gacha game, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. Insane ult buff to self. She gives an 80% crit rate boost to herself and up to 160% crit damage boost to herself for her ultimate in particular. This is pretty freaking insane. Once again, this is just Shorekeeper guarantees the crit rate, right? But then 167 crit damage, 160% crit damage boost right here, boys. And then you'll be at 100%, right? So you'll just be able to stack a lot of crit damage on her. So you're going to absolutely have a crit damage main stat. And then, you know, she should be doing some really juicy ult damage. Something tells me her ult's going to be a lot more damage than Shorekeeper's too. Conclusion, she is indeed Shorekeeper for tune break comps. Now, that is the one thing I will say. Her off tune rate build up, right? Obviously, that's only good for, well, actually, that's pretty much good for everybody too, because everybody's trying to cast tune break, but it's really more valuable for the tune break response. The 40% damage increase to the party, you can only get this value if somebody responds by tune break rupture, tune break interfered, right? So you knock that off, you knock this off, it's like, oh, okay. She is for tune break, but it seems that she's also good for teams outside of tune break. She just won't be as valuable in that regard to the extent of tune break teams. Now, I did take up Lupa. I said, okay, what if we do a Lupa in comparison? Lupa is a very strong fusion DPS. There's no doubt about it. And the reason she's strong is because she doesn't just deal damage. She gives a ridiculous amount of buffs. She gives one of the most valuable buffs in the game, which is resistance ignore. Yes, she has a 15% fusion res ignore if you have up to 3 fusion members in your party. You do have to have 3 fusion members in your party though. And then you have 15 fusion res to the team, which is, oh, I'm sorry, that's not fusion res to the team. That's fusion damage to the team from her set bonus. She then gives a 20% damage amp to the incoming resonator, which this is where she kind of goes down in value from Mornye. Mornye's is all damage amp to the party, everything to the party. Hers is to the incoming resonator, right? So the other resonator won't be getting these buffs. And this was clearly intended for Brant. 1 billion% basic attack buff for Brant. And the other problem with Lupa, she can't heal your team. She doesn't provide resistance to interruptions. She do got some cool ass dodges automatically for the team, but that goes away pretty quick. She's not a sustainer though. So you need Brant with Lupa, or you got to be locked the hell in on super sweaty level, not take any damage the entirety of the time, which don't get me wrong, you could totally do that. And I think a lot of us probably can. Just know this is going to be a bit more uncomfortable for you because Lupa is going to be your replacement for Mornye. And now you're going to have Lupa, Linnae, and aemeath possibly. So there's no healer on the team whatsoever there. And that's going to be a lot more uncomfortable. She's 20% fusion damage to the party, plus 6% attack, and another 6% in increments every time you cast intro skills with your party. So that one's kind of like, you know, but it's pretty good. She gives a lot of additive damage bonus to the party, put it that way. And then you got the fusion res ignore on top of that. And then if you got her SIG, it's even more additive damage bonus. But like I said, she can't heal. She can't respond to tune interfered. She has no revive, no resistance to interruption, no anti-nuke, no off tune rate build-up buff. You know, the drive rotation. Oh, this is another one. The driver rotation can't be too long. The driver meaning aemeath, because Lupa can't. When you go back over to Lupa, remember, one of her big damage dealers is her coming back in and jumping off that spear, bam, doing the damage to go right back into her rotation. If you take too long, well, she's just not going to be able to do that. And aemeath looks like the type that takes too damn long. And I think that's something that's worth considering for some of you guys who may be considering, I'll just use Lupa. And the only fusion friendly support unit and she needs Brant for sustain. Yeah, she's exclusive to fusion teams. Mornye is exclusive. Is not exclusive. I mean, she's universal to all Toon Break teams. And then I'm gonna be honest, she's even got value outside of Toon Break teams too, though. This right here, all damage amplification to the party, the crit damage boost to the party, the 25% from healing set. She can heal off. She's pretty much valuable in a lot of different areas. And like I said, if you guys want, you can go in here and look at all the things that I found. It is all in here. It's just in a bunch of fucking yap fest over here, guys. The big ass yap fest over here explaining off all this stuff. But then if you go on to their Twitter, they also have the signature weapon, which we can go ahead and come over here to Twitter real quick. But I think Mornye, if you're gonna skip her, just know it's gonna sting a bit. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Oh, don't spoil me. I'm not watching this. Oh, wait, that's something else. Oh, shit, I might have to react to that. Oh, what the hell? Oh, check out the Wuthering's fan creation special program, Solars. Oh, I might have to react to that later. Maybe on stream. I haven't streamed in 3 days. I'm sorry, guys. It's been like a dad life for the last 3 days. I know I was supposed to finish. This is a whole different tangent. I was supposed to finish reacting to Zenless Zone Zero trailers. I was supposed to, we're still going to beat Elden Ring in 1 month. There's a lot I had to do, but man, life got in the way. Not getting off topic. This is her signature weapon. Like I said, exact same thing as Shorekeeper's signature weapon. It's for freaking Mornye. Closing thoughts. For me, I am picking up Mornye and her sig 1,000,000,000%. This character is one of those characters I know for a fact is going to last me for a very long time. It's just the kind of character that I know is going to provide insane levels of value to my account. If you're somebody who thinks should just skip or pull, I'm gonna be real with you, man. If you're going for aemeath, you should probably try to pick up a Mornye. And if you can't, well, it is what it is. If you had to choose Mornye or aemeath, we all know the fucking answer to that one. Nobody on God's green earth is choosing Mornye over aemeath unless they're in love with Mornye and they just love her design, right? But I think the best thing for everyone to do is to wait for Mornye to come out, wait for the 3.1 live stream, and see if aemeath's kit does indeed have dot infliction. If it does, and you own a Chisa can be a side grade. That defense infliction plus increasing the dot stacks to another 3 maximum. Yeah, no, the Chisa would be a banger option at that point. But if there's no dot at all in aemeath's kit, oh, cheese is cooked, and Mornye is definitely going to be where it's at, boys. And if you skip the Mornye, well, I pray to God you at least have a Lupa, because it's going to be a little weird, you know? It's going to be a little weird, be honest. And I told y'all from the get-go that they're doing, man, I'm telling you, page out of Hoyo's book, bro, they're doing the back-to-back-to-backs now. Like, oh, you need this character with this character with this character. Now, I think aemeath's going to be so fun and strong, it's not going to be that big of a deal. I mean, maybe it will, I don't know. But they are lining these motherfuckers up like bowling balls. They are. They're lining these characters up like bowling balls. Now, Lene into Mornye into aemeath is nasty work. We'll see what happens, though, boys. You comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Thanks for watching. Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.